A brand new electric car just showed up on American soil for $15,000. I'm not joking, not $29,000, not $36,000, $15,000. While Ford, GM, and Toyota are out here fighting over who can sell you the cheapest EV for 30 grand with cloth seats and a prayer, China quietly built a car that gets 250 miles of real-world range, has a 10-inch rotating touchscreen, 6 airbags, lane keeping assist, and BYD's Blade battery, the safest EV battery architecture on the planet, and it costs less than a used Honda Civic. This isn't just a car story. This is a 5-alarm fire for the entire American auto industry, and nobody in Detroit has a fire extinguisher. This is Shadow Signal. Let me tell you exactly what's happening and why every major automaker in America is quietly losing their minds right now. The car is the BYD Seagull. Some markets call it the Dolphin Mini. Some call it the Atto one. Doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is what it does and what it costs. In China right now, this car starts at roughly 57,000 yuan. That converts to about $7,800 US. Let me say that again, $7,800 for a brand new electric car. The long-range version with 252 miles of range, about $10,000 to $13,000 depending on the trim. Even the fully loaded version with every option BYD offers doesn't crack $15,000. Meanwhile, the cheapest new EV you can buy in America right now is the Nissan Leaf at $29,990. And that's before the destination charge. The cheapest new car of any kind in the US is the Nissan Versa at $18,330. A car with a gasoline engine, a CVT transmission that sounds like a blender full of marbles, and an interior that makes a waiting room look luxurious. The Seagull costs less than half of that and runs on electricity. Bro, $7,800. I paid more than that for my last set of tires and brake pads combined. Now, you might be thinking, okay, for that price, it probably looks like a golf cart with doors. Wrong. The Seagull has sharp angular headlights, a sloping roofline, and a rear light bar that connects the taillights across the whole back end. It looks modern. It looks intentional. It looks like something a European designer would charge you 40 grand for and call it minimalist. The body is compact, about 148 inches long, roughly the size of a Chevy Spark. But unlike the Spark, which looks like it apologized for existing, the Seagull has actual presence. It's got clean lines, a two-tone color scheme option, and proportions that feel like someone actually cared about making it look good, not just making it look cheap. If you saw this thing parked next to a Fiat 500e, a car that starts at $32,000 by the way, you wouldn't think the Seagull was the one that costs a fifth of the price. You'd think they got the stickers swapped. Okay, deep breath, because the outside is impressive for the money, but what's inside is where your brain starts to short circuit. You open the door, and you get a two-tone interior with leather-wrapped seats. Not pleather that peels after 6 months. Actual decent materials. The dashboard has this wing-shaped design that BYD uses across their Ocean Series lineup. It looks clean. It looks modern. It does not look like a $7,800 car. Front and center is a 10.1-inch rotating touchscreen. Yes, rotating. It flips from landscape to portrait mode depending on what you're doing. It runs BYD's DiLink system with navigation, music, video, and voice control. You talk to it, and it actually listens. My car's Bluetooth disconnects every time I close the door too hard. This car has a rotating tablet for less money than my monthly payment. You also get a 5-inch digital instrument cluster, a flat-bottom steering wheel, wireless phone charging, and NFC key access, meaning you can unlock and start the car with your phone. No key fob needed. The rear seats fit 2 adults, not comfortably for a commercial adults. Actually fit. The boot holds 2 full-size suitcases, and if you fold the rear seats down, you get 930 liters of cargo space. That's more than some compact SUVs, in a car that costs less than a jet ski. Who approved this? Seriously. Who at BYD looked at this spec sheet and said, yeah, charge them 8 grand. That person needs a raise. And also maybe a psych evaluation. Let's talk about what's under the floor. The Seagull runs on BYD's E-Platform 3.0 with a permanent magnet synchronous motor producing 75 horsepower and 135 Newton-meters of torque. Is it fast? No. Let's be honest. 0 to 60 takes about 13 seconds. You're not winning any drag races. But here's the thing. Who cares? This isn't a performance car. This is a city car. This is the car you drive to work, to the grocery store, to pick up the kids. And for that job, 75 horsepower is more than enough. It gets to highway speed just fine. It's smooth, it's quiet, and it doesn't burn a single drop of gasoline. But here's the kicker: the battery. BYD's Blade battery, lithium iron phosphate chemistry. This is the same battery technology that passed the nail penetration test without catching fire. The same tech that's in the BYD Han, a car that costs 6 times as much. You get the same battery safety architecture in a car that costs less than a decent used Camry. The base model gives you a 30 kilowatt-hour battery with about 190 miles of CLTC range. Realistically, in the US, that's about 120 to 140 miles of real-world driving. The bigger 38.8 kilowatt-hour battery bumps that up to 252 miles CLTC, which translates to roughly 160 to 200 miles real-world. It charges from 30 to 80% in about 30 minutes on a DC fast charger. Is 140 miles enough? For 90% of American commuters whose average daily drive is under 40 miles, it's not just enough, it's overkill. 3 times your daily commute in a car that costs less than a year of car payments on a new Ford F-150. I'm already angry. Now here's where this story turns from impressive to terrifying if you work in Detroit. BYD didn't build the Seagull by accident. They didn't get lucky. They engineered this price point through vertical integration that no American automaker can touch. BYD makes their own batteries, their own motors, their own semiconductors, their own battery management systems. They mine their own lithium. While GM is buying cells from LG and software from third parties and motors from suppliers, each one adding their own profit margin, BYD does it all in-house. Their cost structure is 30 to 40% lower than any Western competitor. That's not a small gap, that's a canyon. The numbers tell the story. In 2025, BYD sold over 4.6 million vehicles. They're targeting 1.6 million overseas sales in 2026 alone. They're building factories in Hungary, Brazil, Turkey, and possibly Spain and Mexico. They're not just exporting cars, they're exporting an entire manufacturing ecosystem. And the Seagull? It sold over 1 million units since launch, over 10,000 orders in the first 24 hours. In Indonesia, it became the best-selling EV in the country. In Brazil, it's flying off lots. In Europe, it's launching as the Dolphin Surf for under 20,000 euros. And that's after tariffs. Elon Musk himself said it. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was something close to, Chinese EVs are so good that without trade barriers, they would demolish most other car companies in the world. That's not me being dramatic. That's the CEO of Tesla admitting the game has changed. So why can't you buy one in America right now? One word: tariffs. The US currently slaps a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs. 100%. That means a $10,000 Seagull becomes a $20,000 Seagull before you even add the standard 2.5% passenger car duty. Stack on the additional 25% tariff from more recent trade actions, and that Seagull is suddenly pushing $26,000 or more. And here's the part that should make you think. At $26,000, after being tariffed into oblivion, the Seagull would still undercut the Nissan Leaf. It would still be cheaper than a Chevy Equinox EV. It would still offer competitive range, a better interior, and BYD's Blade battery safety tech. Even with a 100% penalty, this car is still competitive. Let that sink in. The Alliance for American Manufacturing literally called cheap Chinese EVs an extinction-level event for the US auto sector. Those are their words, not mine. Extinction-level event. This is why the tariffs exist. Not because the car is bad, because the car is too good. Because if the Seagull showed up at American dealerships tomorrow at $10,000, it would be game over for every economy car on the market. The Nissan Versa? Dead. The Chevy Trax? Gone. The base model anything from any American brand? Irrelevant overnight. It's embarrassing, not the tariffs. I get why they're there. What's embarrassing is that we need a 100% wall to compete with a car that costs less than a riding lawn mower. That should tell you everything about where American automaking stands right now. And BYD isn't sitting still behind that wall. They're building a factory in Mexico. They're exploring routes through Canada. They're setting up production in Hungary to dodge European tariffs. This isn't a company that looks at a 100% tariff and gives up. This is a company that looks at a 100% tariff and builds a factory on the other side of it. The Connected Vehicles rule from March 2025 added another layer, banning Chinese connected vehicle software and hardware in cars sold in America. But even that has workarounds if BYD assembles locally with compliance systems. The walls keep going up and BYD keeps finding doors. Meanwhile, what's Detroit doing? Ford has a skunkworks team working on a cheaper EV. Maybe it'll arrive in 2026, maybe 2027, starting at $25,000. That's the plan. Their answer to a $10,000 car is a $25,000 car that doesn't exist yet. GM is promising the new Chevy Bolt at around $29,000. Toyota's cheapest EV in China, the BZ3X, starts at $14,000 in China. They won't bring it here because of the same tariff rules. So we're paying twice the price for half the innovation and being told it's for our own protection. I'm not saying the tariffs are wrong. I'm saying the fact that we need them is the scariest part of this whole story. Let me just put the final nail in this coffin with a side-by-side. The BYD Seagull in China, $9,500 for the long-range model. You get 252 miles of CLTC range, a 10-inch rotating touchscreen, BYD blade battery, 6 airbags, lane keeping assist, a digital dash, wireless phone charging, and NFC key access. For $9,500 in America, you can get a 2016 Honda Civic with 90,000 miles on it, a check engine light that comes and goes, and a Bluetooth system that pairs with your phone about 40% of the time. For $29,990, the cheapest new EV in America gets you the Nissan Leaf with a CHAdeMO charging plug that half the charging stations in the country don't even support anymore. For $36,990, Tesla sells you a Model 3 with no physical buttons and a minimalist interior that makes a dentist's office look cozy. The Seagull does all of this for less than 10 grand. I'm done. I'm officially done. This isn't just a cheap car from China. This is a preview of where the entire global auto market is headed. The price gap between what BYD can build and what Detroit can build isn't closing. It's widening. Every year, BYD's battery costs drop another 10 to 15%. Every year, their scale gets bigger. Every year, the wall has to get taller just to keep the game close. And the rest of the world? They're buying these cars right now. Latin America, Southeast Asia, Europe, Australia, they're all driving the future while we're stuck behind a tariff wall arguing about whether EVs are even real. This isn't just a car review, this is a warning signal. So be honest with me, if the BYD Seagull showed up at a dealership near you tomorrow for $15,000, would you buy it? Or would you still pay $30,000 for a Nissan Leaf out of loyalty? Drop your answer in the comments because I genuinely want to know. Smash that like button if this video made you rethink everything you thought you knew about the car market. Subscribe to Shadow Signal so you don't miss the next one, because we're just getting started on exposing what the rest of the world is driving while America sleeps. I'm out. Peace.